this episode, we're going to put up the ridge pole, and then my son Brian's going to join us, and we're going to put up the rafters. Things starting to go up now. Setting my cameras. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set 2 blocks up here. I'm finding center. I want to put a 4-foot upright, 2x6 upright on each end, and then of course we're going to set the ridge pole on top of that. So that'll give me, in essence, a 4-foot ceiling to work with, and we'll come down to where I'll put triangles in all of the eaves, and those triangles will be 4 feet wide at the bottom of the triangle, and that way you can put a 4x8 sheet of plywood up there without having to cut it. And then of course we'll fill in the rest of it, and it'll give us a somewhat cathedral ceiling. In other words, the ceiling will not be just 8 feet tall like most houses are. It'll actually go up at an angle. In a studio, you don't want parallel walls. And I see a lot of people spend all this money on acoustic foam and this and that and the other, and sometimes they dry the studio up so much it sounds like it's just too dry. You know, you want to control the bounce. You don't want sound bouncing around in your studio. But I found a great solution for that in my Covington studio. I just went to a sawmill and got white pine and resawed it to 1/2 inch thick, and I put it up on the inside like siding, like you would siding outside, just planks. Well, what that does is they're angled. Every piece, 8 to 12 inches, however wide you want that plank to be, it's angled up just a little bit because it sits on the piece right below it. And what that does is it gets rid of the parallel walls, and it just worked out great. I was going to put acoustic treatment in the ceiling, and the studio sounded so good before I did that, I didn't touch it. I was afraid to mess with it because I didn't think I could beat the sound I was getting. Right here what I'm doing, you got to get up high to fix that ridge pole and everything, so I'm just building a scaffold. I figured it would take me an hour to go to town and rent one, and then an hour to take it back and all that. I just use the studs that are eventually going to go in the wall, make you a temporary scaffold, and get up there and do your business, and then take it back apart and put them in the walls. So we did that. So I got my 2 sides built. You'll notice if you ever do this, squares are not structurally sound. They will collapse on you. They will rack or scissor or whatever you want to call it. You will notice on that far one I've put a triangle, a diagonal piece to create a triangle. Hard to collapse a triangle. That's why I'm triangulating the ceiling. Once we get in there, you'll see what I'm talking about. That way the building won't fall on you. It can't push the sides out. But I'm putting my spacers in there now. This is the way I did my other studio, and it worked out really well. Just make your scaffold as tall as you need to get up to your highest point, then move it around. While I was explaining my wall treatment, I got those uprights in place. Yeah, we got this speeded up to about 30 times. It's funny to watch this. Sure, it didn't happen that fast in real time, I can assure you. Now I'm sort of building some steps for the end, so you can climb up there. In the end, I think we wound up using a ladder, but now I'm putting my ridge poles up. No, actually, I'm putting a couple of planks up there to stand on. Yeah, I think we're fixing to throw the ridge poles up there so we'll be able to work. I'm going to put the ridgepole on the back up there first. Now you'll notice you can't get a 24-foot pole, so I'm using, actually in this case, a couple of 14s because you want it to overhang the back a little bit, and the front, of course. But I fashioned me a pole for the middle just to temporarily hold that until we could get some rafters in place. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a level up there, and I'm leveling it. We'll get that one up. Now we'll put the front one up. I'm clamping an outside piece so that when I put it up there, it won't fall off. And we're going to put this piece up temporarily until my son gets here, and then we'll level all of that. There's what I finished alone. But Brian's on the way, and there he is. We had. Sometimes I get excited, and of course Brian was with me, and I forgot to turn my camera on. So we had already made our what we did is we made a model. Model's not the right word I'm looking for, but in other words, we cut one, and then we used it to cut the others with. I'll think of what I'm trying to think of, and my 74-minute brain is freezing on me here. Anyway, you can see I'm cutting them to length and cutting the bird mouth in there. Brian's doing the high work. Thankfully, my ankles have trouble up there these days. Not as strong as they used to be. I was a little afraid of those heights, so he was good enough to come in and help me do this. As you can see, we're working both sides sort of simultaneously. I guess the word I was looking for was template. You make one that's a template, and then you use it to draw off all the others. That way they're all the same. But it went pretty much without a hitch. The entire roof took us 4 days, a couple of days to put the rafters in. And really, it didn't take as long to put the decking and the tin up, or the metal up, as it did the rafters. The rafters took the longest. But you got a lot of them, and it's just one at a time, whereas you put up a 4x8 sheet of what we used OSB to deck it with. When you put that up, it covers a good bit in one swack, so to speak. And then your tin is 3 feet wide and the length of your building, so it went up really quick. But you can see we're getting it just one piece at a time. Just keep cutting one more and one more and one more. It eventually goes up. Oh man, I was so glad to have Brian's help. This would have taken me forever and would not have been a safe situation. I would have had to climb up and down that ladder, or that scaffold. Well, I think there's about 30, better part of 40 of those rafters up there, 30 something, 38, 30, whatever. So I'd have had to go up and down that ladder many times. He and I work together so well. It's a blessing to have you have kids that are good enough to help you with stuff and not complain about it at all. We enjoyed the process. Good time to be together for a while. We're going to put up the decking and the tin. Again, Brian's helping me, my son, helping me do this, thankfully, because it's tough me getting up and down that scaffold these days. And not only that, lifting up that decking and the tin, a bit of a trick. It can be done with one person, but it's not as easy as it looks. Not as easy as it was when I was a lot younger anyway. What we're doing there is we're putting up an edge. That way when we put the OSB up there, it won't fall off. See how it catches it? It also squares that edge to the end of your rafters. Serves a double purpose. And makes the OSB go up there a lot neater. Your edge, there's no gaps to speak of between your edges when you do that. We just sort of figure this stuff out as we go. But I've done enough roofs now that I've learned about that edge thing. If you just take a minute and put that up there, amazing how that helps you with that. And one of my cameras ran out, so all of a sudden that other piece just appeared up there. But trust me, we did put it up there. We lifted it and put it in place. I don't know if you watched the rafter episode, but I'm telling you, this part of it goes faster than putting the rafters up. There's a lot of rafters, and it took a while to put them up, but the whole roof process was about 4 days. Now, the roof line was about 10 feet, 11 feet, something like that. The whole building's 16 feet wide, but when you go up at an angle like that, it's not just 8 feet. It's a little bit longer than that. So you can see we're putting like a half piece up there at the top. Finish filling it on in. Then there'll be a piece that'll go on the end eventually there. Now we've got our first piece of tin up. Here again, what we did is we moved, I wanted about an inch overhang with the tin, so we put a spacer between our, that catch, that 2x down at the bottom, just enough to give us that spacer, and when you put that all the way across, your tin is automatically square at the bottom. All you got to do is be off just a little bit when you start that, and by the time you get to the other side of the building, your tin can be off 6 or 8 inches if you're not careful. But this prevents that. The bottom of that tin will always rest against that, and it won't slide off either. Holds it in place while you get it going. I've found that to be the easiest method. Yeah, it takes you a minute to put those catch pieces up there, but it saves you a lot of time and makes it a lot more accurate if you take a minute to do that. It doesn't take that long, 5 minutes. But you can see how it's catching all the way along that bottom edge there, and it's level going all the way across. Now, I didn't film doing both sides of this. I didn't think you wanted to see that twice. You can see we've already done the other side if you look through there. So we practiced on that side to make sure that this side would look kind of good and smooth while we were putting it on and filming it. Now we're finishing out that last little corner there. It was an odd cut. It wasn't a full piece, so we had to make it fit. But one last piece of tin. We hope you're enjoying this series. And again, I want to thank my son Brian for helping me with this. It was invaluable. It saved my back and my legs and just a lot of stuff. The ridge cap. This is the part you're waiting for the whole time you're doing this, because this just finishes it up, buttons it up nicely. But if you're enjoying what we're doing and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified when we put out new episodes, hit the bell. We're completely dried in now in real time, and putting up the inner walls and the insulation. But of course we've got some catching up to do video wise, but there we are. Roof is done. Next episode we'll be putting up the front outside paneling, the reverse board and batting, and putting in the windows and the door. So we hope you'll join us then, and thanks for watching.